A doctoral degree in development studies from the University of Bradford, UK. Additionally, he holds postgraduate certificate in planning and appraisal of industrial investment from Development of Projects Planning Center, University of Bradford, UK, and postgraduate diploma in professional capacity building for research and development value chain, ICRA, the Netherlands. His research area includes sustainable development, chieftaincy, land use management, natural.
I'm very much excited to be invited to chair this August conference with the honorable presiding members. Indeed, I feel very honored. Ladies and gentlemen, it is refreshing to note that steady progress has been made towards the achievement of decentralization in Ghana. Decentralization, as you know, is a process of devolving power to a local level with the sole aim of bringing governance closer to the people. The district assemblies therefore provide the vehicle for the development of the devolution to take place. And when properly implemented, decentralization offers the people the opportunity to take the destiny and the process of development of their localities into their own hands. The work of the district assembly, therefore, in many respects, can be likened to the work of parliament, in that the assembly's debate, formulate and pass bylaws and prosecute development agenda for their communities. I have, over the years, observed with some degree of satisfaction that most assemblies have lived up to expectation in spite of the many challenges that confront them. Mindful of that and desirous to make the assembly concept more meaningful and democratic, the government has embarked on processes to allow for the election of chief executive. Of chief executives of the assemblies. Ladies and gentlemen, you will therefore agree with me that the dynamics of the decentralization is going to change dramatically with the election of the chief executives. And it's important for assembly members to prepare themselves adequately for the change. This is why I find the theme for the conference the role of assembly members before, during, and after the election of district, metropolitan, municipal, and district chief executives most appropriate. I'm also happy to know that a very high level practitioners in decentralization processes have been assembled to speak to you, to the theme, to speak to you and to the team, and I'm confident that they will do justice to it and offer enough food for thoughts. I therefore deem it an honor, ladies and gentlemen, to be called upon to chair this session, and I accept to do so with all humility. I thank you very much and accept to chair the function. Thank you very much.
The National Conference of Presiding Members, Ghana, to welcome you to this year's annual conference and take this opportunity to express my profound gratitude to you for taking time of your busy schedule to be here. The theme for this year is the role of assembly member before, during, and after the election of metropolitan, municipal, and district chief executives. The theme is very appropriate and timely considering the current issues facing the country, particularly on the local government election of assembly members, unit committee members, and the referendum to give way to a new paradigm in our local governance system in Ghana. This process, I believe, when fully achieved, will give meaning to decentralization. The theme is also important considering the fact that improving local governance in Ghana depends largely on presiding members, honorable assembly members, and the unit committee members who have become a critical prerequisite for the development. The country needs to pay particular attention to local governance, thereby making the MMDs function effectively through devolution to substructures of the assembly. Good local governance can only work when it becomes participatory with reward systems. The historic is whether the current structures and operations of local governance is effective in meeting the demands of the citizens. If not, what do we need to introduce to make it work? Nana, Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, it will be expected that the local assembly is taken as the miniature of Ghanaian parliament to be groomed and nurtured to take full responsibility of its citizenry. Honorable Minister, improving local governance in practice requires that citizens are empowered to participate in meaningful ways in the decision-making processes. Unfortunately, the empowerment of the very players are seriously lacking. Nana, Chairman, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this gathering of presiding members from all over the nation to the final meeting of the 7th Assembly of the 4th Republic of Ghana is to train and equip us for effective performance. I wish to use this platform to appeal to authorities to take critical look at local governance, and for that matter, decentralization. On this note, I once again welcome you all to 2019 annual conference and wish us all a fruitful meeting. To those of us going to seek re-election, I wish us well and a successful, peaceful election with a jubilant coming back. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson of the conference. Honorable members of conference, we are here to receive Conference Secretary, MMDC is present, then our revered presiding members, the media. Good morning. I bring you greetings from my regional minister, Honorable Kwame Duncan, who was going to be here, but for some other important programs couldn't come. In fact, I was even on my way to Winnipeg. We're having our budget hearing, and I'm leading a team. I believe that is why the NALA president is not here. There's a group, and he's hosting them in Apam. There's another group in Apam and one in Winnipeg, and he's hosting the Apam. I know he's the MC for Gomua West, and that's why he's not yet in. I'm praying that he will join you. When my minister called me to represent him here, in view of that, I don't think I can sing through. We are far behind time, and after my statement, I have to go with my team to Winneba. Let me add my voice to President of welcoming you to Cape Coast Central Region. We are the landlords, and once you are in our land, we have to welcome you to Cape Coast. Those of you who have not been to Cape Coast before, I believe you enjoy your stay in Cape Coast. I wish the conference was held last week. Last week, Cape Coast was butu butu butu. You know, that was the Fetua Fashion. And we have wished to be here. Conferences are meant for stock taking. That's the time of us reflecting on the past, look at the present, and project into the future. And I believe that after this conference, presiding members will come out strongly than before. And as the conference president said, that some of you will be going for elections again. Well, I think by the close of this month, these assemblies will have been dissolved, or first week, October, and that will call for fresh elections. And I know there are those knocking at the door, wishing to be presiding. But I wish you well. And I'm praying that those of you who want to go again will win another term. Honorable Abuaji, I can talk of Honorable Abuaji, and the three of you, you are my presiding members. Tufu Timukwa, Tufu Himalawa Denchira, and Ava Denchira West. Yeah. I'm praying that delegates will endorse you for the second term. I don't have much to say. All I have to say is I wish all of you well and hoping to see you another time as presiding members. And some of you can even be elevated to be district chief executive like what we are seeing today. 21 years an assemblyman and 16 years as presiding member. And at a point in time, dean of presiding members, he has a wealth of experience. I think you help the assemblies to grow. That's what we are all praying for. That we have strong assemblies. Once we have strong assemblies, the system will also be strong to help to prosecute our agenda of developing this country. Once again, let me say thank you for inviting me here. And I'm praying that I wish that you grant me the space to join my colleagues in Winneba for the budget hearing. It's also very, very important. Thank you very much, and God bless us
all. We have not gone. We hope after the budget hearing, you will still visit us to see what is happening and guide us through the process. Thank you very much, and we are privileged to have you. Honorable members of conference, indeed, our conference, though was timely and prepared for, there were other activities that came in to somehow made attendance quite poor, which is unusual of us. One of such is what is taking the Deputy Regional Minister away, budget hearing. And you all bear with me that we are the key of the assemblies who are supposed to really be at this budget hearing. Some of our colleagues will want to attend the budget hearing and then join us. Some had already attended, and that is why, for the first time, our opening of conference looks this way. Another assignment which has also came in to interact with our program was the the national electoral exercise that is ongoing now. You bear with me that the guest speaker for today is supposed to be the EC chairperson. She received our invitation and informed us that even though the period will fall within the voter registration exhibition exercise, she will manage to either be here or a rep here. But the 11th hour, she wrote to conference executives that she will not be able to be with us for the reason that most of his team too have to go around monitoring, and she herself too is so occupied, and she expressed her apology for not being with us. In her stead, we requested from our main speaker for the conference to quickly step in to do us the honors. We have in our midst Nana Osei Safo Katanka II. Nana is the head of Local and Regional Economic Development Department of Institute of Local Government Studies. And he is going to be our main speaker during this conference. He will present to us on the theme election of Metropolitan Municipal District Chief Executives, the role of Assembly member before, during, and after conference. May I present to you Nana Osei Safo Katanka.
A big topic, and there are several things that one had to look at, or what that we need to look at in a theme such as this one. Even looking at the before alone is quite a task. Not to think about the during and then the after and all of that. But the general thing that I would like to mention here is that what is before us as a country is what the government has tabled, that it is going to introduce partisanship in our hitherto non-partisan local level elections. So political parties are supposed, after the referendum, campaign, select candidates, campaign, and win power at the local level through popular elections. But before this can be done, there is a constitutional restriction. That restriction is captured in Article 55, Section 3 of the 1992 Constitution, which states that subject to the provisions of this article, a political party is free to participate in shaping the political will of the people, to disseminate information on political ideas, social and economic programs of a national character, and sponsor candidates for election to any public office other than to district assemblies or lower local government units. So at the national level, all political parties can, as of now, campaign, select candidates, and do all manner of things within the ambit of the law. But at the local level, it is not so. So there is the need, since this particular provision of the Constitution is entrenched, there's the need to organize a referendum for Ghanaians to determine whether we would like to change this particular provision or amend this particular provision to pave the way for partisanship at the local level elections. So in December this year, the Electoral Commission has slated a date. I believe it's December 8th. Yes. December 7th. 17th. Very well. Thank you very much for that correction. So the Electoral Commission on that date is going to decide, organize a referendum for Ghanaians to decide whether we need an amendment here. Now, for this referendum, there should be a minimum turnout of 40% and a yes vote of 75% or more. Now, if these levels are not achieved, then it means that Ghanaians wouldn't want that to happen. But I believe that the kind of campaign and the kind of message that we shall all put into this exercise or event will determine what we will need to do. Now, when that referendum has been organized and the results known, there are some consequential amendments that must be made to certain provisions within the Constitution. Now, those ones are not entrenched. So once the main clutch is released, then these other ones which depend on that particular provision will also be necessarily, yes, amended. Article 2431 is one of those that is in consideration here. In that article, it is stated within the Constitution that there shall be a district chief executive for every district who shall be appointed by the president with a prior approval of not less than 2/3 majority of members of the assembly present and voting at that meeting. So, for now, the DC is appointed by the president and must be approved at a meeting for confirmation. 2/3 of members of the assembly present and voting must declare for the DC. So this particular provision, once we decide in the referendum that we would want partisanship in or at the local level, then the president cannot appoint. In this case, the DCE will be elected, and this election will be on party political lines. So a lot of the campaigning by parties, a lot of the selection of candidates, the disqualification, and all the things that characterize our national elections will also be on display during this time. Again, Article 2481, Section 1, states that a candidate seeking election to a district assembly or any lower government unit shall present himself to the electorate as an individual and shall not use any symbol associated with any political party. Well, once the way is cleared, this particular provision also, I believe, will have to be amended appropriately so that we know that the parties are coming on their own steam, electing their members, campaigning for them, selling them to the electorate so that they are voted for as assembly members at the local level. Section 2 of the same Article 248 also states a political party shall not endorse, sponsor, offer a platform to, or in any way campaign for or against a candidate seeking election to a district assembly or any lower local government unit. I believe this article also, or this section of Article 248 also, will see some amendments. Now, there are some other areas that so far, I haven't heard too much of whether that will change or not. I'm not too sure, but these are some of the things that are agitating my mind, and I believe are agitating other people's minds also. Article 242D. Article 242D. It says, a district assembly shall consist of the following members. 1. Elected members. 2. Members of parliament within the district. And the chief executive. Now, there is a fourth category of members of the assembly who are appointed. That is the 30%. They're not more than 30% of all members of the district assembly appointed by the president in consultation with the traditional authorities and other interest groups in the district. Now, whether or not this 30% will still remain or will also be voted for alongside the 70 that are already being voted for, that's another thing. So after the referendum, some of the issues that will come up are these that we all must begin to be thinking about. But you see, so looking at these things that I've pointed out, there are some certainties. It is very certain that after December 17th, partisanship will be introduced at the lower level elections. We are going to elect members who are already being elected. We are going to elect MMDCs. We are going to campaign in the name of political parties, where we shall do selection of candidates. The whip system will come into play. You know what happens in Parliament. Honorable Deputy Minister can attest to this, and we all see to that. When it comes to matters of very, very big importance in Parliament, you always need to whip your members in line so that if there's going to be a vote on any decision in the House of Parliament, you will know that you are going to have a yes vote or a win when the matter is brought up for voting. So you do the whip system. We're going to create caucuses, coalitions and alliances are going to be formed. All of these things in the name of partisan elections at the local level. Of course, on the negative side, people are going to be disqualified and be disappointed. Those who become disappointed in one way or the other, when they want to, as it were, pay back, will threaten with skirt and blouse voting. Some are going to defect. And of course, the dreaded thing that we are all thinking about now, the introduction of so much money in our elections, monetization. A lot of that is going to happen. How are we going to organize ourselves at the local level where a lot of poverty, in my view, is present? People are going to be influenced, and of course, we need to also spend money. Every election calls for the spending of money. I mean, we can't take that away. But how do we spend that money? That is where a lot of discussions come up in all of these cases. Okay, so as I've mentioned, we are not very certain whether the 30% appointees is going to still be in place or something is going to happen. Now, are the elections also one of the uncertainties? Are the elections also going to be for unit committee members and all of that? Okay, so in all of this, what happens? So these are issues that I imagine that we may need to think about. Of course, there is this particular issue which is part of our discussions during this conference, the emoluments of assembly members. How's it going to be? Are we going to get paid as members of parliament? Because now issues are going to come up for how to develop our districts and all of that. If you want to see a lot of development, then the local level elections, then the organization, the administration, the management of our districts is very key in our quest to ensure that the local levels are developed. So, ladies and gentlemen, Nana Chairman, Honorable Member of Parliament, I would like to pause here after these few issues that I've raised, so that during our main discussions, these become issues for us to ponder over. Thank you very much. Thank you.
While she's engaged, she promised that another person will come who is capable to do that job. And we are privileged to have in our midst the Deputy Minister for Local Government and Rural Development, Honorable Obi Amwa, with us. Shall we invite him, giving him standing ovation to present on behalf of the Minister?
Indeed, it was only yesterday that she had to decide to send me because another important assignment had come up. So I came just this morning, and that shows that until last night, the minister was ready to be here because she sees this conference as very, very important. So I'm here to read her speech. And before I start, I will say that Honorable Esumi, now that Mugabe is no more, we say he's Putin, Assembly Putin. Indeed, I've known you for many years. People don't know. He's a taxman, or he was a taxman, and I used to be in the same office with him. We are all tax practitioners and lawyers. But he's been very interested in the assembly work. We thank God that he still holds the record as the longest serving presiding member, and now DC. So thank you so much for your presence here. I'll start by saying that I wish to commend you for choosing a theme, role of assembly members before, during, and after election of MMDCs for your annual conference. Presiding members, as leaders of our assemblies, and considering your evolving role in our local governance system, such conferences are critical to enable you, in addition to reviewing your work, also do peer-to-peer learning from each other for improved performance. The Constitution 1992 provides in Article 242E that to ensure the accountability of local government authorities, people in particular local government areas shall, as far as practicable, be afforded the opportunity to participate effectively in their governance. In fulfillment of this mandate, these assemblies are composed to include one person from each local government electoral area within a district elected by universal adult suffrage. The Constitution and the Local Governance Act 2016, Act 936, have spelled out the functions and role of a presiding member. But permit me to dwell extensively on the impending district level elections and the referendum on Article 55.3. It is our fervent hope and focus that a twin event on 17 December will encourage the electorate to get out to vote and record the highest turnout in the history of district level elections in Ghana. But we can only be assured of the highest turnout if we actively campaign and explain the significance of the agenda on December 17 this year. Participatory democracy is critical in every democracy and is the bedrock of good governance. The Constitutional Instruments 2019, that is CI 119, on the electoral areas for the election of assembly members, and CI 120 for the conduct of the referendum in December this year, have been approved by Parliament. Indeed, it met the 21 sitting days requirement on the last day, that is 2nd August, when we were rising. Of course, the conduct of the elections, district level elections, will be governed by CI 89, 2015. That is the regulations on district level elections, which provide for activities before and during the elections. Now, Chairman, it will be recalled that during the orientation of MMDCs in 2017, His Excellency the President stated that he hoped the appointment of the current MMDCs would be the last to be made in Ghana. In his State of the Nation address to Parliament in February 2018, the President re-echoed the commitment of his government to electing MMDCs on a multi-partisan basis. This commitment has also been repeated in the 2019 State of the Nation address. Now, Chairman, it's also important to recall that since the inception of the current decentralization and local government process in 1988, efforts have been made to devolve functions, powers, authorities, competencies, skills, and resources to district assemblies. At the dawn of our current democratic dispensation in 1993, the decentralization local government system was anchored under Chapter 20 of the 1992 Constitution. However, MMDCs, who are local political leaders of our MMDs, have remained nominated by the President and approved by 2/3 majority of members of the General Assembly present and voting. Today, the need for a change in the mode of appointing MMDCs has been identified as a governance gap. For instance, the Constitution Review Commission's report on the 1992 Constitution noted, and I quote, "Since the introduction of the 1992 Constitution, there have been incessant calls for a change in the manner of appointing MMDCs, which, in the opinion of many Ghanaians, is undemocratic. It was argued that it is undemocratic to superimpose a national government structure that is contested on political party lines over a local government system that is non-partisan," unquote. An NCC report in 2015 and the Afrobarometer report of 2017, released by the Center for Democratic Development, CDD, also supported a popular call for MMDCs to be elected. It is to close this governance gap that the MPP in opposition promised to elect MMDCs if elected into office. The process was commenced immediately the government came into office, as evidenced by the President's statement in 2017. It is worth stressing that the election of political leaders at the local government level is considered an international best practice in local governance adopted by many countries. It is aimed at deepening local democracy through popular participation in governance. And similar experiences and lessons of electing local leaders exist in countries such as Uganda, Kenya, Namibia, the Gambia, South Africa, of course, in the older democracies like the United Kingdom and the US. The evidence that the move by the government to have MMDCs elected is in line with global best practice. Now, Chairman, as the ministry responsible for delivering on this promise, we have developed a national roadmap to guide the activities leading to election of MMDCs. These activities include conducting consultative meetings with stakeholders, amending the constitution and other laws, and instituting change management process. Key among the provisions to be reviewed are two critical ones in the 1992 Constitution. Article 2431 is on the procedure for appointing MMDCs, and Article 55.3 limits political parties from sponsoring candidates to participate in the local level elections. To pave way for a change in the mode of appointing MMDCs by the president to election by the people, there is a need to amend Article 2431, which is a non-entrained provision, and Article 55.3, which is an entrained provision. Since Article 2431 is a non-entrained provision and is basically on the procedure for appointing MDCs, it does not require a national referendum to amend it. So, as we speak, Mr. Chairman, the bill to amend Article 2431 was gazetted, presented to Parliament, referred to the appropriate committee, that's the Parliamentary Committee, Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, and as we speak, the House has debated the bill at the second reading stage. But because it's a constitutional requirement that when you want to amend the constitution, certain number should be attained at the second reading stage and third reading stage. That is, 2/3 of members of parliament should agree that the amendment should be made. As we speak, we've debated at the second reading stage, but the vote has not been taken. So what is outstanding is to take the vote as to whether 2/3 of members of parliament agree that the president should no more have the power to appoint MMDCs, but they should be elected. So that's one leg of the responsibility that we have to carry. The other leg is the amendment of Article 55.3, and this is what requires a national referendum as provided under Article 294 of the Constitution. The processes required have been gone through, and as we speak, everything now is in the hands of the Electoral Commission to conduct the referendum on 17 December this year. That is why the EC has even gone ahead to provide for the referendum under CI 120, which has been approved by Parliament. It is therefore important to note that the EC has fixed two major events on 17 December. That is election to the district assembly, the local government units, and the referendum. To this end, the ministry, in collaboration with the National Commission for Civic Education, the Electoral Commission, and the Information Services Department of the Ministry of Information, have developed a national campaign strategy to be implemented between now and December 17, 2019, to educate citizens on both the elections and the referendum. So we may say that for this particular year, there will be massive campaign to educate the people on why they need for the district level elections. So that should be a bonus for all those who are standing for the assembly elections or district level elections. And then of course the campaign too will dwell on the referendum. But we must also appreciate that since the national referendum, if carried out, shall introduce significant democratic reforms in our local governance system, a deeper appreciation of the year's vote by the average Ghanaian is critical. That is where we expect the assembly members to also come in, not only to campaign for them to be elected as assembly members, but also have the opportunity to explain to the people why they should take part in the referendum and why they should endorse the question to be put. So, as leaders of the respective electoral areas or prospective leaders, as candidates will be required to, among other things, educate and sensitize the people in the electoral areas to come out in their numbers to vote first for assembly members, because the turnout also sends a message. We know the record of turnouts when it comes to assembly elections. So sometimes very low, 25%, 30%, etc. But the message should come out that this time around, people came out in their numbers to vote for assembly members because they know the importance of electing assembly members to represent them in the various electoral areas. But for the referendum especially, there's a threshold. If people vote for assembly members and for the referendum, the turnout is less than 40%, it means the referendum has failed, has not been endorsed. The requirement of minimum 40% turnout becomes then very critical.
You served as the presiding member of Infantiman Municipal Assembly from 2012 to 2019 and Dean of Presiding Members of Central Region from 2016 to 2018. For your hard work and sacrifice dedication, contributions to the association, the National Conference of Presiding Members honors you with this citation. next one goes to another person who is no longer a dean, but one of us, Honorable Wisdom Zo. In case we have his presiding member here from Pru, we would like to invite him to stand in for him. Thank you. May I invite, sorry. This will be presented by Honorable Topie. To Honorable Wisdom Zo. Honorable Wisdom Zo, you have been Assembly member since 2008 to 2019. You served as the presiding member of Pru District Assembly from 2010 to 2017 and Dean of Presiding Members of Bron Ahafo Region till 2017. In 2012, you joined to serve on the National Executive Council of National Association of Local Authorities of Ghana. For your selfless dedication and immense contribution to the association, the National Conference of Presiding Members honors you with this citation. You have been elected as an assembly member for Achem Akenkwasu electoral area and the presiding member for Birim South District Assembly. In 2015, you became the Dean of Presiding Members of Eastern Region until your appointment as the District Chief Executive of Akim Achiase District Assembly in 2017. For your hard work, selfless dedication, and immense contribution to the association, the National Conference of Presiding Members honors you with this citation. May I call on Honorable Felix Foster Aka, the Dean of Western North Region, to do this presentation. And this one goes to Honorable Bernard Odron Tachi, the presiding member of Sunyani West District Assembly. If he is here, we would like to invite him forward. Please. Okay, then Brenkum Central will receive on his behalf. Citation of honor to Honorable Bernard Odro Tachi. You have been elected as an assembly member for Kwatere electoral area in 2017. You were elected as a presiding member for Sunyani West District Assembly. Few days after your election, you created awareness about your position with assurance of your readiness to preside over development in your district and among your colleague presiding members. You again championed the campaign towards rewarding assembly members through various media advocacy and always making available opportunities for colleague presiding members and assembly members to take advantage of on our national platforms. You have been recently appointed as a member of the Advisory Board of International Youth Diplomacy Conference. These have contributed meaningfully towards the driving and sharpen the youth agenda and development. For your hard work, selfless dedication, and immense contribution to the association, the National Conference of Presiding Members honors you with this citation. Honorable members of conference, we have another 2 citations to be presented. And with this presentation, it will be done by our honorable guest for today. And this citation goes to one of our partners and main sponsors of our programs, the Jospon Group of Companies, or Zoom Lion Ghana Limited. If their representative or the company representative is here, we would like to invite them for this honors. And this presentation, we will humbly ask our minister, the guest of honor, Honorable Obi Amwa, to do on behalf of conference. Citation of honor, Jospon Group of Companies. Zoom Lion Ghana Limited was birthed over a decade to champion waste management in Ghana through local participation to make Ghana clean. We are proud that it's still in existence and serving a good people of this great nation and our sub-region. Keeping Ghana clean has brought about greater innovation and technological approach to waste management and fulfilling the purpose for its existence. Your partnership with Metropolitan Municipal District Assemblies has been tremendous, starting with manual tricycle, which still remains the flagship of the company, to technological advancement and working beyond the territories of Ghana to many African countries. For your continuous support, hard work, and immense contribution to the nation and National Conference of Presiding Members, we today, 11 September 2019, salute you and honor you with this citation. And this to the company. We will still ask them to wait. The Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Joseph Siao Ajepong, is supposed to be here today, but he sent his message and that he will ask one of his directors to receive this award on his behalf. So, Honorable Deputy Minister will still do this honors. A citation in honor of Dr. Joseph Siao Ajepong. Your invaluable contribution in leading the cause of making our communities in Ghana clean, green, and healthy is highly commended. The National Conference of Presiding Members recognizes the contribution of Jospon Group of Companies and Zoom Lion Ghana Limited as a symbol of hope for waste management and environmental sanitation in our various metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies. Your philanthropy and generosity knows no bounds. You have been a pillar of support for our association for many years. The association therefore wishes to appreciate you in this special way by honoring you with this citation on this 11th day of September 2019. Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Deputy Minister. Thank you, members of conference. Nana Chairman, on this note, we are done with the presentations, and we are privileged to have you among us to witness this. We would like to have your closing remarks. Thank you.
I'm excited to be with you. I think this is my first time I'm joining you in that conference. And also, I'm happy that you are in Central Region. And like the Deputy Minister said, we welcome you to Cape Coast, and we expect that you go around. Don't just walk in here and go without going to the castles and see what happened. We are grateful to have you here. As said, we as a nation embark on decentralization, and simply means that we want to allow participation of all sort of people from the grassroots. And decentralization will not take place or will not be effective without the work of the assembly members. And like I said, I've observed over the years the work of assembly members throughout the country. And I can say confidently that we have done a great deal of job, particularly the assembly people. We have made a lot of sacrifices for this nation. More especially when you realize that you are not being adequately rewarded for the work you are doing. All the same, you are not daunted. You put in the maximum effort to ensure that Ghana experience democracy in this country. We are grateful to you. And this conference is also important because very soon, as we said, we're going to embark on electing our district chief executives. And it's interesting to have such a team to assess what we can do before, during, and after the election. The three speakers. First, our national chairman raised certain issues that needs to be looked at carefully during your conference. The special guest, Nana, also initially picked some very serious points, and I think these are issues that we're going to work on during your conference. The Deputy Minister also added on and explained at length the constitutional requirements as to what we should do, as to what people should do during the elections. Altogether, I'm sure before you leave here, I don't know how many days you're going to spend here, but if even it's a day, I'm sure you're going to have a fruitful conference. I wish you well, and I wish we can all be here throughout the conference. However, I'm sure, as you know, we are all very busy. We will allow you to do your work, and probably towards the end of the conference, I may pop out again. I thank you very much for inviting me here, and I wish you all the best this morning. Thank you very much. My name is Honorable Intikwami, presiding member for Ahanta West Municipal Assembly, Western Region. My issue is normally Ministry of Local Government come out with a guideline as to how much
the ceiling as to how much municipal district and metropolitan assemblies are supposed to give to their honorable assembly members who will be existing for office. So I was expecting when they were bringing the communique on the dissolution of the assembly, that will also be part of it. But it is silent on that. So I want the minister to address it for us. The second issue is about what will be the fate of the election of presiding members. Because the two-thirds majority, the two-thirds voting, present and voting, the two-thirds of the total membership of the assembly, we are proposing that once MMDC should be elected, it should be by a simple majority. And the tenure of office should be 4 years. So that once you are elected, you'll be in office for 4 years. Then you go for subsequent elections. Thank you.
My concern is about the newly created electoral areas. We've been told that they will not be part of the impending district level elections. And we want to find out if the Honorable Minister can throw more light on it, because I'm aware some people have started using their boosts to contest in those areas. So they are receiving that news in a great shock. My second one is an observation. The women have already started hinting that they will soon register their displeasure for conference law of recognizing their contribution to local government practice. So I just want to hint to you that the women are rehearsing to register their displeasure about the fact that they have not been recognized as a key partner in deepening our democratic discourse. Thank you.
Thank you, Nana Chani. Honorable Deputy Minister. My name is Prima Lens, Presiding Member for East Maprose and Dean of Presiding Members of East Region. Honorable Deputy Minister, I know you are making efforts to sensitize and educate the general public on the election of the MMGs. I want to know whether you are also making efforts to educate and sensitize the MMDs not to campaign against that issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. My name is Robert Kwame Dazi from Ablekuma Central Municipal Assembly, the presiding member. Honorable Deputy Minister, my concern is you have already issued a communique that the assemblies are coming on the end of the 7th of October. Then that means we have to go home for 3 good months before the assembly will come back again. This gap, at times some of us have a problem with that one. Because as lawmakers in the local assembly, we don't see the reason why we'll give that gap for 3 good months before we come and continue our work in the local government system. Parliament, when you are going out, they are showing in those who are coming, so there's no any gap. But come to local government, as members of the assembly, anytime the electoral commission and the local government get a vacuum, at times 3 months, at times 4 months, before we come back, then it tells something different. Now we have to go to the assembly, come and correct whatever they have been doing for the past months. I hope you have to look at those issues for us and make sure see that we'll do something about it. Concerning the number 2, concerning this yes or no something, and at the end of the day, the political parties have to come in and campaign for their local assemblies. That means the government have to prepare to pay us like they are paying the members of parliament. If we are going on the partisan line, the government is prepared to do that, pay us. We want to know from you. Thank you very much.
My name is Joseph Odaiboy. Honorable Minister, Please, I would like to know. I received a petition from 3 of my assembly members that some staffs from the district are lacing their boot to contest them. They are using assembly resources like our vehicles to do campaigns against them, against my colleagues. So they wrote a petition to me last week. We are here to sit on the petition, so I will need your advice on it. Thank you.
The Electoral Commission is required to hold elections for every electoral area which has been created. So once the electoral area has been created, as in the CI 119, there should be elections in that electoral area. So no electoral area will be excluded from the elections. I'm saying that CI 119 contains all electoral areas, including newly created electoral areas. And those newly created electoral areas will be part of the elections. So it's for you to know what is in the CI 119. It's for the Electoral Commission to publish the electoral areas for each district. And then these electoral areas will be part of the elections. Let me give you an example. If Ayawaso North, if they had 3 electoral areas, and now it's been extended to 11 electoral areas, that means those 11 electoral areas would have the elections. So what probably is confusing some members is that initially the EC proposed creating electoral areas for every district. So they even brought a draft for stakeholders to look at, including members of parliament. Later on, they said that several petitions had come up for some of the electoral areas that they were creating. So they were now going to concentrate on newly created districts and municipalities. So for about 90 to 95% of the electoral areas created, they were created in the newly created districts and municipalities. But I'm saying that every electoral area that you find in the new CI 119, that electoral area should be ready for elections in December. And there should be no confusion about that. If you had 3, it's now 11. The 11 will go for elections. If you had 9, it's now 15. It's the 15 which should go for elections. If for any reason it's 10 and they've increased it, you go for elections. So there should be no confusion at all. If nothing has changed, if you had 24 and it's still 24, it's those 24 that will present candidates for the elections. I hope everybody is clear on this. Not at all. How many electoral areas do you have in your district?
You are having 33 electoral areas.
Yes.
Then ECK with 6 new
Yes.
electoral areas. And call on the assembly members as well as the traditional authority and political parties to tell us that they are creating new ones.
Yes.
They want the names of those new ones.
Yes.
So we gave to them and they said. Now the news we are hearing is that those new ones that were added will not take part in this.
Where are you hearing the news from? Take it from me. I am saying that if you want to know the number of electoral areas in your district, go for the CI 119. If the CI 119 says that it's the same number, then it's the same number that will hold for elections. If anything has been added, then that additional electoral areas will also be part of the elections. So there's nothing like hearing news from anywhere. You go by the law. And the law is saying that Parliament has passed the CI 119 showing the creation of electoral areas. So those electoral areas are the electoral areas for the elections. Don't hear any news from anywhere. You can get somebody in Accra to even just screenshot the number of electoral areas in your district and then send it to you. And that is official list. No list from any other place. What Parliament has approved is the list for the elections. If you had 30 and it's still 30, 30 will go for it. If you had 30, it's now 36. And it's in the CI. Is the 36 who would be required to go the elections for each electoral area? Yes. Yes.
We have 7 electoral areas.
You created what? Yes. Yes. Yours is a special case. Yours is a special case. They will bring amendment to Parliament when we go in October. Yours is a special case. Certainly. Yours is a special case. That is the only place where they had a problem. Yes. Have you seen a CI? So why are you saying it's a CI? Why are you saying this? I have a copy of the CI in my car. I can bring it. I can bring it. Somebody will see his lecture. This one is free. It's free for you. I can give it to you. Every lecture you can tell your portion and see what is in there. When I was coming here, you didn't ask me to do that. Yes, you're not part of it. You just had your elections. No, you're not part of it. Who? Have you seen yours that they've created any new one for you?
Yes.
You've seen it?
Yes, I've seen it.
You've seen the CI 119?
Yes, sir.
When?
No, I'll provide it when we begin.
It's not really. It's Assembly Press is not even printing it. I hear you. I'll bring mine and we compare. The recognition of women. I don't know whether you wanted me to answer that question.
No. It's conference.
It's conference. So conference will respond. Collins, Eastman Prosi, you say some are campaigning against the referendum. If you are MMBC and you are campaigning against the referendum, it's a risk that you are taking. Because if the government and the party have agreed that this is the way we should go, and you campaign against it, you may not last till 2021. The person who appointed you, who still has the power till 2021, may decide that you shouldn't be there to even decide whether there should be elections on you or not. So it's a risk that you are taking. And we'll be watching. We'll be watching if you're ready to take that risk. It means you may not even last the 2021 that you'll be hoping that there will be elections or no elections. That's all that I can say. The vacuum. The vacuum is not the making of the ministry. We even had to fight the EC when they said they would do it in December. If we had our own way, by the time your term ends, the elections will be ready so that you go on. But we don't decide a date. It's the EC. If you remember in 2015, the EC did not even wait for the CI to mature in Parliament. They opened nominations, and then somebody went to court. Eventually, instead of doing elections in March, it was done in September. So we don't decide a date. If we were to decide a date, we would have wished that the moment your term ends, the elections will be ready, and the new assembly members will come in so that there will be no vacuum. Because whenever there's a vacuum, then the president will have to issue directives. In certain situations, he may even have to do EI to cover the vacuum. So it's at the doorstep of the EC, and we don't control the EC. That one is your personal decision. Joseph, you're saying that people are campaigning against sitting members, if I heard you right. You said people in the assembly are campaigning against sitting members. Using staff resources, assembly's resources. If we have evidence and you draw our attention to it, we will take on the DC and whoever is doing that. Because they are not allowed to use assembly resources. That's an aligning words. Assembly resources to do their campaign. But if they are using their own resources to unseat anybody, that one, the law doesn't frown on it. They are eligible to stand. But not to use the assembly resources against anybody. So if there's evidence, we would follow up on that. And then, S. Garcia, our friend from Hunter West, you said we brought the time that assemblies should be dissolved, but not the directives on the S. Garcia. I'm aware that as of last night, it had been prepared. But of course, the minister would also have to consult with her team and send it out. But we have about a month for it to be dissolved. It will certainly come very soon. I hope maybe early next week. That directive should also come. So it shouldn't be a problem at all. It will not hang. It's ready. I saw the draft. So rest assured. Then you're talking about post-referendum, the fate of election of presiding members, whether it should be simple majority and the tenure should be 4 years. These two issues that you've raised, they are constitutional issues. Post-referendum, if majority agree that this is how it should go, it will be part of the laws to be amended in Parliament. This one is not entrenched, so we don't need to go for a referendum. But after this referendum, if the response is positive, there are several amendments which have to be made for various laws and for some parts of the Constitution. But most of them don't need any referendum. In fact, none of them requires a referendum. So all of them will be taken through the parliamentary process. And then if two chairs of members of parliament agree, then that will be the new law. I hope I've answered all the questions. Oh, I said the response will come next week. You were not listening. I said the directive will come next week. Now, one issue, now that you are here, one issue which you should take into recognition, which is above the ministry. This is just a friendly advice. You know how the Auditor General is behaving now. Auditor General, in our school days, you will say that he's become wild. The issue of motorbikes. You should sit in assemblies and treat the issue of motorbikes very well, so that you avoid any queries from the Auditor General. Yesterday we were discussing it. I was saying that if a person is an assembly member now, and then he's lucky to be re-elected in December, he can always account for the motorbike. He will say that it was given to him for his work, and still assembly member is using it for his work. If the person is unfortunate to lose the elections, and he has used the motorbike for only 1 month, and if the Auditor General comes in, he should have a good answer for the Auditor General. Already we hear some people have sold their motorbikes. Already we hear some people have sold their motorbikes. As to how you are going to respond to the Auditor General if he comes in, that after using the bike for 1 month, you cannot find a bike. It's between you and the Auditor General. The ministry doesn't come in. We have provided logistics for you to be able to work. But if after 1 month you can't find a bike, that one, you should give a good explanation for the Auditor General to put in his report. Otherwise, this Auditor General, he will tell you to go and bring the motorbike. Or say charge you. I'm just hinting you, so that get your legal team to face him. It's not our job, it's the job of the Auditor General. That's all I can say. Any other issue, please? Yes. We are ready, so you bring all the questions. Hey, Tema people are here. Yes. Yes. About the motorbikes. It's friendly advice, or I'm not allowed to advise you. As a lawyer, not the center minister. As a lawyer. Yes. The bike was given to you to facilitate your work. That one is between you and Water General. It's between you and Water General. Sorry. Yes, please. Have I answered your question? That's all. That's how far I can go, because I don't want to be misquoted. Yes. Yes.
I can say 4 years ago in
Yes.
that was the 90s.
Yes.
2000 something. And then the act also said that the monument of assembly is determined by the assembly.
Yes.
So we at TMA decided that although of the 90 pay 2000, ability to pay, TMA could pay 5,000. So we paid ourselves 5,000.
Okay.
I've heard that you and the ministry have started threatening that the 90s will be carried to the latter. Why?
Are you now spreading rumors? This is rumor mongering. You haven't seen the directive, and you are saying you have heard that. Yes. Yes.
All along this ex-gratia thing,
Yes.
the fear that comes from the ministry still insists that the assembly should pay.
Yes.
Most assemblies are unable to pay.
Ability to pay.
The ability to pay. But what we are saying is that all that we have been crying about is that if you can pay appointees, for instance, some of ESD, give us that peanut also from the.
Which appointees are you talking about? Article 71 office holders. Article 71 office holders. We are not 71 office holders. It's a constitution which is guiding all of us.
We are working for the state, so we also give us that peanut.
As for working for the state, there are several people who work for the state. But the constitution has listed those who are under 71. And that's how they treat them. Because if you were to be working for the state, everybody will be collecting education. But because you are special people and you pass your own budget, and there's a resolution that you can pass, it means that you have a way of taking ex-gratia. But we don't want you to take the money of the assembly, the whole money, and say that you have paid yourself, and then cripple the assembly. That's why we give guidance. Yes, sir. Yes, make sure you don't repeat the question. Some which have been answered, don't repeat it. Otherwise, we won't leave here today. We are closer, yes. As for assembly elections, it doesn't depend where you work. Once you are a citizen of Ghana and you belong to the electoral area and you qualify under the CI 89 and under the constitution, you can stand. But I'm aware that a matter was taken to court. The Supreme Court ruled on the matter as far as this civil service thing is concerned. I'm saying that you can't say that somebody is closer, so he should be disqualified. You should go to the law, quote the law why the person doesn't qualify to stand as a member of the assembly. There's somebody, yes. Yes. I think we have finished talking about motorbike. This one is free advice. Yes. Yes.
And we all know that the various assemblies they are supposed to have legal minds within the assembly.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the capacity is not there.
Yes.
So it would rather be also appropriate to keep your mind. But that's a fear.
I'm not the only lawyer here. My friend is here, so you may also consult you.
Yeah, just what you have said is not sufficient to guide all presiding members as we generally.
Yes.
I say so because even the motorbikes that have come, the understanding is that it was supposed to be the assembly members and the exit period. So some assemblies have been taking processes to register them in the name of the respective assembly members.
Yes, I'm aware.
But I think that there's no clarity as far as the distribution is concerned.
I'm saying that the Auditor General, in auditing every assembly, will ask questions. So you should also have good answers to the questions that you will ask. That's all. That's all. Yes. There's a mic here. They want to hear you.
Please, about my question is the autobus. There's no document covering it. I want to know what the autobus. I want to get it. They requested the documents covering the autobus. But I didn't know no documents. So how are you going to get the documents for the autobus so that we can make that?
Thank you. I'm aware some assemblies have registered their motorbikes. So we will draw the attention to it. Okay. Yes. Some received. Okay. And some didn't receive, so we will draw the attention to it. Yes. The best is to come and line up here. After that, there are no questions. Come and line because when we answer, there is somebody who raises his hand. When we answer, last 5, come and line up here. Don't repeat any question. Last 5. Once we finish with this set, we'll be okay. Give him the mic.
Thank you. Can we take those? Honorable Minister.
That means it's reserved for him. If it's extra, but if the number doesn't include the MP, then the MP should request the ministry to provide him the motorbike. But if it's more, don't say that it's more, but you are taking 2 as presiding, or you are giving it to somebody, your best worker in the assembly, because that is not the list.
Okay, finally, regard to what we were discussing in terms of the resolution of the assembly.
Yes.
As the wireless message has already given to the assembly. There is problem. You are aware, we are aware. And normally we used to say the assembly is not party. But I see partisan. Because the fiat of 30% that the president or the government in power should select. I don't believe they are Pentecost girls. They are politicians that are going to be.
So ask your question.
So we shouldn't play that ostrich role. My point is,
ask your question.
Regard to the dissolution of the assembly.
Yes.
I believe it still falls under the assembly to pass a resolution quickly and send it to whether electoral commission or even the ministry for them to understand that the fact, the lacuna, it's always creating problems. As a politician, I won't hide it. I will not open my office for somebody to create or to plan for my exit. I won't. So anything they fix, anything legally means that we, the assembly members, especially the presiding members, will preside over the assemblies and make sure there should be a proper resolution to pass from our assemblies to the ministry for that fiat or that lacuna, for not have its left to stand on. I believe, honorable members, we should do it right now and make sure that proper thing is done. For me to prepare my exit, no way.
The man is using legal terms. Fiat, lacuna. The most important thing is that if your term is supposed to be 4 years, there are some assembly members who have moved from one assembly to the other. For example, if you belong to the AMA and the AMA is broken down, you end up in another assembly. But the law says that your term is 4 years. And if your term is up, no strong, powerful resolution can extend your term. That is what it is. The challenge we have is where the EC is not able to work to make sure that the moment your term ends, we go for elections. But we in Parliament who make the laws. We cannot say that when our term is up, we'll pass a law to extend it, which is unconstitutional. Which is unconstitutional. No, don't confuse the two. Don't confuse the two. The first aspect is that 4 years is 4 years. 4 years is 4 years. When the next term will start, it's a different matter. In Parliament, if there's emergency, the President can, by emergency, extend the term of Parliament. That is constitutional, and it has to come to Parliament for us to debate and pass it. This is a situation where the EC is not able to make sure that when a term has ended, they're able to carry out the elections for a new team to come. But don't take that gap to mean that if EC has not conducted elections, then I'm staying on. You can't stay on because your term has ended. And no resolution can change it. This is not in standing orders or guidelines. This is in the Constitution. 4 years is 4 years. That's supreme. So understand it so that you don't do anything or confuse anything. It's very simple. If you still want to be in the assembly, after October, go vigorously, go and campaign, and come back. That is all. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
Oh, you're still here.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister.
Yes.
I have two questions. One is,
You have introduced yourself.
yeah, I'm Honorable PM for Timpani. I was Samson Asana.
Yes.
I was in your office with my MT before the creation of the.
Yes.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, are you considering having if the referendum is passed, assuming that it has succeeded, are you also considering cancelling the 30% government appointees?
That's question. Is that all they want?
Yeah, the second question is,
Okay.
the DCs work with the assembly members. So is it not proper to have the tenure of office of the DC, assuming it is partisan, be contemporaneous with that of the assembly members?
Okay. The issues you raised are issues which have been raised at various stakeholder consultations. What we are saying is that if the people of Ghana agree that we should reform this process by electing MMDCs, these issues are also on the table. There's a strong view that the 30% should be abolished. It's a strong view, but it's not law yet. Beyond 17 December, when we see the outcome, all these consequential amendments will be considered and then decision taken. It will not be just the minister sitting in her office and taking these decisions. People would have to be consulted. After that, she sends the proposal to cabinet. Cabinet brings it to parliament where there should be a constitutional amendment. So that's the process that we will go through. Some have brought the issue that once the DCs are elected, we should have a full house without government appointing any person. If the majority decides that way, the amendment will be made to cover that. You understand it? So that is where it is. Every consequential amendment beyond the referendum will be debated and then carried through. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah. Those up here, but Honorable Minister, yes. As we journey on, this lacuna and what have you, can't it also be that
lacuna and fiat?
Yeah, lacuna and fiat. In future, we have a determined period. For example, Ghana's 4 years per executive is up to 7 December, and then we hand over the next 7 January. So that I believe that, except there is some state of emergency and something unusual, these things will be carried on. Okay. So by the district assembly election, where the electoral commission will take his or her own time to fix date and other things, can't we have a fixed period, raised that 4 years starts from this and that, so that when there are problems, we go through that, and then if it goes beyond that, certificate of emergency and others will also be done to cover for these things that we are talking about this morning.
I agree with you. We've discussed with this. We are not happy about the vacuum. We are not happy at all, except that we don't have any Even when they appeared before the budget committee in Parliament, the initial date wasn't 17 December. Because the shorter the period, the more comfortable we will be. But they kept shifting the dates. And we even warned them that if they bring any date which will fall into 2020, we won't agree. So even it's part of the reason why even our campaign for referendum is a bit slow. Because they gave us November date, change it to early December. And then it's now moving, and now it's moved to 17th, which they are saying is their last date. So that's the date we are using for the referendum campaign. That was what has even slowed down the campaign. Because if you don't have a definite date, you keep changing the date and then you confuse the people. But I believe the time has come for a law to be passed that whether you like it or not, prepare to hold elections on the day the term expires. Because that's what is done for presidential and parliamentary elections. I don't see why they cannot do it for assembly elections. It creates so much confusion for everybody. The Local Governance Act has a room for the president to use an EI to direct how the assembly should be run. And we don't want to be asking the president to use that power. So just get the elections to be done when the term ends, and all these problems will be resolved. Yes, up here. So you are representing all of them?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
thank you.
But Minister, the other side is that members feel that they haven't done anything wrong. Probably you haven't done anything wrong. It's the electoral commission creating this guy.
Yeah.
So they are not satisfied.
Yeah.
Can't there be some arrangement for them to hold on? Because they also feel that they play some checks and balances.
For who to hold on?
For the assembly members whose tenure has the last per constitution. To hold on until we finish and new one come. Because they feel that when they go, the composition of the assembly is the elected, appointed MP. It will be left with this EFP and the management, who are necessarily not the assembly.
But
the
directive we sent, we made it very clear that where a resolution has to be passed by the assembly, you cannot on your own go ahead with that assembly. So there's a limit to which they have to operate in the assembly.
Local government, I was trying to education in my district. Honorable, I had a security committee meeting, but I thought I should leave it and be here this morning. Because once a PM, always a PM. On behalf of all the awardees, I thank you so much for this kind gesture. But let me add that I've also worked at the NALAC office before I went to IRS. I worked there for 2 years as state and PRO for NALAC before I went to IRS, where I met Honorable Obi Amwa. But I'm happy that we both began our political careers from Internal Revenue Service, where we were actively involved in the IRS senior staff politics. So we began together in IRS, and here we are, we're occupying very important positions. So, Obi, our sweat will not be in vain. And I hope that all of you will also do the same. Please be humble, you are beginning. But when I began as assembly member, people were not too sure. Hey, a lawyer, why for assembly membership? But I thought that you have to begin from the beginning. So please have patience and be tolerant. And I think that in God's time, you get the ultimate position. On this note, thank you very much, and God bless all of you. And I wish you the best of luck in these coming elections.
What I'm saying is, we are very much grateful for being with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Beatrice Che, for thanking us. You've done it beautifully. Honorable Conference, we are now done with the opening session, and from here we'll have instead of our snack, we are going to go in for our breakfast. Then, yes. Oh, sorry. Sorry, instead of breakfast. Okay, we are going for coffee break. Let's just go by it that way. And please will be directed as how things will go. But the dignitaries will be leaving us through this door. And we want to say that registration continues. Please see your deans from the various regions and register. Your registration is very crucial. We will just allow you for some things up to lunch period, after which if we don't see your identification as somebody who has registered, maybe you may not be treated as an honorable person of this conference. So let us all do the honorable thing. God bless us all. May I now invite